No matter what bike you've got, trust comes down to two things: your tyres. Switching to a tubeless e-mountain bike tyre is going to help you keep rubber side down. Follow me. All right, let's kick things off with the obvious, casing. Now, casing refers to the sidewalls and the top of your tyre. You need something that's going to be a little bit stronger because strength is key when it comes to e-mountain bikes. So we generally run lower pressures when it comes to riding e-mountain bikes, and that's for one main reason: grip, whether that be up or down. But the problem is you have a trade-off when it comes to running lower pressures. You're more likely to get a puncture. With all this extra force you're putting through, you need to make sure that you're saving yourself from any instance where you can do. So using this Pirelli Scorpion e-mountain bike tyres here as the example, they've added an extra layer of textile rubber on the inside of the tyre, right by the bead, to stop you getting pinch flats. Now, pinch flats aren't just for the tubed, you can get them on a tubeless tyre. However, tears are the biggest thing when you're running lower pressures. Now, you can save yourself from a tear, but the biggest upgrade to that is tubeless, which leads us on to the next one. Tubeless is up next. Now, it might seem the answer for most of us, but it's not necessarily always going to be the case. To be honest, it's kept me puncture-free for many months now, touch wood, but at the end of the day, tears will happen, and that's what we need to prevent when it comes to e-mountain bikes, because those are the kind of punctures that are going to end your ride. Now, most e-mountain bike tyres will come with a thicker thread casing, so a 60 TPI casing versus 120. It's a little bit heavier, but it's going to stop those tears, and that's the most important thing, because at the end of the day, if you get a puncture, there's ways of fixing it. If you get a tear, you're walking home. And one of the main benefits, I think, from tubeless is the fact you can run lower pressures and you're less likely to get a puncture. The most important thing about running lower pressures is you're getting performance goals, which leads us on to the topic of pressures. Under pressure. So the next thing we're going to talk about is pressure. Now, pressure is key for e-mountain biking, and especially the obvious climbing side of things. You need to make sure you're getting enough grip and control, but you don't want the tyre to fold underneath you, right? So having an e-mountain bike specific tyre is going to make sure that it's got enough support to give you that supple grip and control, as well as giving you a bit more suspension in the bike. So grip comes in many shapes, forms and sizes, but what makes having an e-mountain bike tyre more important for your grip in this circumstance? Now, there's various things that play key, so conditions, weight of the bike, riding style, but having an e-mountain bike, you generally find that you've got a higher rolling speed. So making sure that you've got a chunkier tread, something that's a bit grippier, is more important than trying to get something that's super fast rolling. However, having a choice of different tyres, front and rear, means that you're going to get the best of both worlds. Tread pattern, we're talking about knobs. Pirelli have chosen to offer 3 different tread patterns essentially within their e-mountain bike range. Now, they've done it based on conditions, which is a great kind of understanding of how you choose them. They've gone for M, S and R, which relates to mixed terrain, soft and rear specific. They've gone quite chunky on their tread across the board because, hey, you've got a heavier bike generally, you're going to be rolling faster. But what you have to understand is it's a mix of the size of the knobs in the center and the side against the compound that they choose to use. So using this mixed terrain tyre as an example, you can see the tread pattern in the middle is a little bit shallower, but it's not just the tread pattern that gives you the grip, it's the compound. Let's get scientific. Wait! It's not always a bad thing, regardless of whether it's the bike or myself, which, hey, I could lose a few. But with all the things that we've talked about today, with all the extras and the strength and the reinforcement, there's going to be a compromise somewhere. But weight isn't always a bad thing. So yes, they will be heavier, but these Pirelli tyres here, they come in around just under 1 kilo each. So yeah, it's not too bad, but the way that they can actually benefit you, other than the strength, grip and control that they have, is having that added weight when you're going into some of those rougher, tougher features and some of those big, heavy corners, is that weight is going to keep you low and give you all the grip and traction that you need to push in and out of those corners. So yeah, it's also good for weightlifting. Now, it only takes a few incidences of ripping the bead off or getting a tear to make you realize that maybe the tyre choice that you had on the bike isn't the right one. And to be honest, with all the things that we've talked about today, it's really important to consider that an e-mountain bike specific tyre might help you. Now, there's other things like you might not be trusting the bike, and funnily enough, that can come down to rubber. It's a big part of the confidence. So take into consideration, there's loads of different brands that offer e-mountain bike specific tyres, and I'm gonna say it here and now, e-bike problems require e-bike solutions. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next time. Leave any comments and questions down below.